There we go.
Now you can.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our Facebook Live weekly program that's coming to you from the Institute House live in Gitanagari. We're so excited and so happy to be with everyone today. We're thanking you that you're listening to this program. We know today's Nrsingha Day is a Parents' Day, and everybody is blissful and joyful and happy, waiting for the mercy of the Lord. But however, we keep doing our service. So, as you know, we are coming to you from Inter-IFAS. Inter-IFAS is a branch of IFAST. What that means is Inter-IFAS is the branch that brings us the social media programs, everything that you get online. And IFAS is founded by His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. And so Inter-IFAS and IFAS are like one family, and we have our team members on here, Kishirani, Lila, team Anna, and Bhakti. Those two are not here today. However, we are so excited. We're so excited because we have this amazing, wonderful couple that has served Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj for many, many years. Mayapur Lila, she comes from South Africa, and when she came here to Gitanagari, she came actually in a mood of service to Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. She came to serve him because she had met him in South Africa. And he was always very happy and very excited to to share with us about Mayapur. He always spoke about her in such a loving mood of a father. And he had such deep affection for Mayapur Lila. So, she and Nrsingha, naturally, they got together in Gitanagari and they got married. And they've been married now for 18 years. They have a beautiful daughter that's so talented. She's so creative. She's amazing on the harmonium. She sings. She has this Gandharva voice. Her name is Vrindavan. And Nrsingha Tirtha, he is really, when I share about Nrsingha Tirtha, first of all, he's Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj's son. However, I like to, he's also in a material way, my son. He's Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj's spiritual son. However, he's like kind of my son materially. And I cannot even begin to share, the things about Nrsingha Tirtha that have impacted all of our lives. First of all, he was so dedicated to Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. He performed so many sacrifices, did so much service for Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. I remember when he came to Gitanagari, he came from Miami, Florida, and his mood was like the mood of the servant has arrived. He had that mood. I am the servant. And he's maintained that mood of being a servant all of these years. And, we have so much gratitude for all of the services that he's done in Gitanagari. I can't speak enough about what he's done. And so we're so grateful to both of them. We're grateful that they're going to share some memories with us of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. Prayerfully, Mayapur will share something from South Africa. I don't know what she's sharing, but anyway, we're looking forward to what they're going to share. So please, Nrsingha Tirtha Prabhu. Oh, one thing, Ekavir is reminding me, our program is just free and flowing. And sometimes there's things that I forget. And so Ekavir is reminding me about their son, Kavi. And so, yes, they have a son, they have an older son, and they have a daughter. And so we're happy that Ekavir Prabhu reminded me to share about Kavi Raj. His name is Kavi Raj Das.
It's actually a wonderful honor also to have this couple share on Nrsingha Chaturdasi because this is Nrsingha Tirtha.
Yes.
So
yes.
Thank you for coming and appearing on the Parents' Day of Nrsingha.
And believe me, Nrsingha Tirtha has a lot of the energy of Lord Nrsingha. So Nrsingha Prabhu, that means protection.
In a material sense, how that would translate. Haribo devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Now, was that a question or?
If you would just share some memories, whatever comes to you about your relationship with Bhakti, Guru Maharaj.
Yes, in 1996, 97, early 97, I believe, Bhakti Maharaj was in, I didn't know who he was at the time. It was in Los Angeles. I was there living on different situations. I was practicing Rastafarianism, and I was on the Venice Beach, and devotees were giving out, like, cards to invite people to the temple in Los Angeles. So I took that opportunity to go there because I heard they were giving out free food, and at the time I was accepting anything free. So I'm glad I did. I took the invite and I went there, and we had prasadam, and halava was served, and I never looked back from then. I would always go there as often as I could on Sundays for the feast. And one Sunday I met Ragadasi, and she was on the street in front of the temple chanting, and she said, "Oh, you should come. My spiritual master is coming to give a talk." There was a restaurant, a devotee owned a restaurant there in LA at one time, and a health food restaurant, and she invited me to come, and he was speaking there. So I went, and I was introduced to Bhakti Swami. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know Guru. I didn't know about the movement, really. I was a very neophyte. I was just coming around. So I went, and he gave a good lecture and everything, and then I think we did Harinam. I didn't know what Harinam was, but I went along. I wanted to do whatever he was doing because I was very inspired. And it was a year later that I actually joined the temple. I was trying to join in LA, but they wouldn't let me join with my dreads. I had dreads at the time, and I didn't want to cut them off. So, life happened, and in the interim, I ended up somehow in Miami, Florida, still following the Rasta path, and a friend of mine, we were traveling together. So then I got really disgusted with life. I actually was up in a tree about to, with a rope around my neck, and I got so materially frustrated, I wanted to kill myself. But thank God that the seed of the holy name was already planted in me, because I was chanting once in a while, on beads and so on. I had become vegetarian a year or two before that. So I went and joined the temple in Miami, and they let me join with the dreads. But the day after I joined, I just cut them off, and I was surrendered. 2 months later, another devotee said let's go to New York Rath Yatra. So a bunch of us in the temple, including the Maharaj, Keshava Maharaj, I believe at the time, we all drove to New York. And that same devotee, he said, you should go and see the Maharaj. He's speaking downstairs. This was the day before Rath Yatra. Bhakti Tirtha Swami was speaking in the morning class. And of course, I was upstairs in the ashram still sleeping. So I'm known for that, to be late to his class. I think that would have set the mood for our pastimes forever, because I would always come into his classes late. But he said, you should really go and see him speak. And I said, okay, and I went and I saw him speak. And then the next day, I saw him speak in the morning class in the temple, and the next day was Rath Yatra. So I spoke to him. I said, oh wow, I remember him from Los Angeles. This can't be an accident. At that time I had a little bit of knowledge, about the move of Guru. And I'm like, this cannot be an accident. So he said, go to the Rath Yatra tomorrow. I spoke with him at the Rath Yatra, and he said, I said, Maharaj, to take instruction from you. He's like, okay, go to Gita Nagari, after the Rath Yatra, and I'll be there for, there was, I guess, the festival, the May festival, or whatever festival it is after the Rath Yatra he would have every year. So I went there, and I thought I had arrived. That was it. I was done with material life. Coming from New York, originally I lived in New York most of my life, and I never experienced anything like Gita Nagara in my life. So I was done. I was never going to leave there. That was my mood. I was never ever going to leave there. And you guys can attest to that. People would come and ask me. People would ask to be hooked up with me, I guess, and they wanted me to leave Gita Nagari, and I was like, no, if you're not going to stay here, I'm not going to go anywhere. So that's how dedicated I was to Gita Nagari. But yeah, Gurudev, it was not an accident that how we met. I don't think. I have to thank Raga Dasi for that. Otherwise, I would have still been wandering somewhere in limbo in life, somewhere down in the gutter somewhere. And of course, meeting, the devotees. There was a devotee that I met in the temple room at one of Gurudev's lectures, just soon after I got there at Gita Nagari. And and at that time, people were like, "Oh, what service do you do? What service do you do?" I'm like, sitting next to this person here and this person, and I asked him, so what's your service? Because it seemed like very just insignificant, just another devotee sitting next to me. And he's like, "Oh, I'm the temple president." And that was at Kavera, So
That's funny.
You don't remember that?
No, I don't.
Yeah. He was sitting right next to me at the temple on the floor right after Gurudev's lecture, and we were all just, sitting around, just, and I asked I asked him, "Hey, well, how you doing?" I asked him what's his service, and he's like, "I'm the temple president." So from then on, I don't think we were friends from that day on, because he was like a big brother, and he still is like a big brother to me. I would never want to leave Gita Nagari as far, from then on. And of course, being Rajalila, the mood of Gurudev was in you guys. You guys were exemplary. In Gurudev's mood was so guys imbibed it so well that I felt like even if Gurudev were physically at times, that I was home because I had you guys. So that's that's one of the pastimes I couldn't think of Gurudev. After that, it was all chastisement from then on. So he would always. But I think he knew. I don't know if he knew that I wasn't going to go anywhere. So he could really give it to me heavy, and I wouldn't like bloop or anything like that. But yeah, he knew that false ego was really great, was really big in me. So like the guru, he was actually a guru. He gave it to you especially when he knew that you can take it, boy. He wasn't letting up.
So before we move on to Mayapur, I'm going to ask Lila if she has any questions for you, anything that she might want to know. I'm a little intrigued about maybe a personal pastime with him and you, but I'm going to ask Lila.
Thank you so much for speaking. We cherish these stories so much. I do have a question I'd like to hear about some of these chastisements. It seems from hearing from all the devotees that this is like one of the ways, probably the main way that he gave mercy. And I'd like to hear Specifically, did he ever chastise you for being late to all those classes?
Did he?
But anything that you'd like to share with us about the lessons that he gave you?
Yeah, one in particular rings very loud in my mind. It was in front of a big class that I came in late. I was actually in the kitchen at the time washing dishes. Most of the time I was very shy. I'm very shy, so I don't, whenever there's big gatherings, I'd always hide in the kitchen. I would always find service to do. People thought I had a great service attitude, but I was actually just hiding. And I just thought, hey, I might as well do something while I'm hiding. So I didn't want to come through the kitchen because the way the temple is set up, you'd have to come behind the speaker, or you'd have to enter the class where everybody would be looking at you if you came from the kitchen to the temple room. So I went around the outside and came into the door, to the entrance door, and I came into the class, and of course, trying to avoid the attention, I got more attention. Because Gurudev, he would have known I was in the kitchen if I came to the kitchen, or it would have been a different experience. But I came into the entrance and he said, Nrsingha Tirtha, just go back to where you came from. Wherever that was, just go back. I was like halfway through that. And I just said, Gurudev, I was in the kitchen, washing dishes, But, even though it wasn't really I wasn't supposed to be chastised. I think it was actual mercy, because I should have been sitting in class the whole time and not worry about anything else, where it was my false ego thinking that, I don't want to be in class. I don't want to be around a lot of people or whatever. I should have been in class, and your guru is speaking. So that, and there's always, there was other times. I was actually driving him to. We were driving in the car to Philadelphia, and I think Ekavera gave me the mercy to drive the car when Gurudev was actually depending on Ekavera to drive. But I think Ekavera wanted to give me some mercy to serve Gurudev, so he let me drive, and I thought I knew where I was going. I did not. So we had a program at the Haryashva's place in Philadelphia, and
what was Haryashva's place?
Yeah, it was Haryashva's place, and you let me drive, and you went ahead. I think you were ahead, but then you took off, and I missed the exit, and I ended up in Jersey. So he was like an hour late. You don't remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and but he actually chastised you when we got there, but I felt it too. So I know that was for me also, because he's like, you know what? Because he didn't ever like to be late to any of his programs, and thinking that I went there one time and I already thought I knew where I was going, but I didn't know. So I wanted to impress him, I wanted to show that I could do this, But I was a little cub trying to run before I could walk. So.
Well, we remember that time that he chastised you, actually both of those times, in Philadelphia, going to Haryashva's or Govinda's, and then also in the classroom, and especially in the classroom, because he chastised you directly. I felt for you. I remember that. That was really intense.
And Lila, guess what? That chastisement is on tape. Like everybody can hear it all over the world. And there's nothing in there that said, I was in the kitchen. So all you hear on that tape is Gurudev sending that to Nrsingha Tirtha. Go back where you came from.
Yeah, I can't live that down to this day. Everybody says, oh, I remember when I was in the class when Gurudev chastised you. I'm like, oh, really? Oh.
Your claim
Yeah.
to fame.
So Mayapur, what are some pastimes you want to share with us about your relationship with Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Tirtha Swami?
Well, my something that came to mind for me that is a really wonderful memory of Guru Maharaj. You know, my relationship with him started off in South Africa. In 1996 is when I started coming around to devotees and was introduced to Krishna consciousness. And I was just told about this program that he was hosting at a college, a very well-known college. And I was really curious to go and, and see what it was about. So I went, and I remember I just came straight from work that day. I was still in my, work clothes and everything. And I was about one of about 150 people was present at that seminar. And I remember it was like a amphitheater setting, and we were sitting, and he was down on the lecture stand. And so the topic of the seminar was turning lust into love. And it was probably about a 2-day seminar. And I just remember the whole time during the seminar, I was just struck. I was in awe the whole time. I mean, I've just come from this background. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the race, the dynamics in South Africa. I come from a background where I wasn't introduced to even Hinduism. I didn't know about Hinduism. I didn't know about, that kind of culture and stuff. And, just being in that seminar it just like, I was like, whoa, this is like a whole nother level of being. So anyway, Gurudev spoke he did the whole seminar. And at the end of the seminar, at the end of the second day, he asked me to come up to share. And out of this whole room full of people, he pulled me out of the crowd. But it was funny because the whole time I was in the seminar, I was feeling this strong connection with him. I was like, wow, this person is like so close to me. And I really want to know him. So anyway, I was, and then he was like, he asked, one of the people was helping devotees to ask me if I would like to share, come up and share my realizations from the seminar. And I was, I sat down. We had maybe about an hour before I would come up and, do that. So I had a notepad, and I was sitting down and writing down all my realizations on this notepad. And I think it was probably about 3 pages long that it was, and I was like, okay, I think I got this. I'm just going to do this. So when it was time for me to share, he was standing right next to me, and I was, next to him. And I just couldn't speak. All I could say was, thank you so much, Bhakti. I think he was known as Srila Bhaktapad, or Krishnapad in the seminar. And all I could say the whole time was, thank you so much. That's all that came out of my mouth. was, thank you so much. I am so grateful to you for bringing this, philosophy to me. And that's all. That's the only thing. I couldn't even read what I, wrote down. It was like nothing else came out, but, just the gratitude. And then, so basically, yeah, that when that was over, he took us on, we went on Harinam, which I was also not familiar with. Was all new to me, but it must have been the best experience I've ever lived. That Harinam was far out. It was the best ever. I mean, the whole time I felt like, wow, is this true? Like, I felt like I was out of my body the whole time, And of course, with Guru Maharaj's energy, he was just going on the beach. And I was like, so mystical on the beach with him and the devotees. Everybody was like, I was like, whoa, this is just, I think, I don't know if, I remember like 2 days after, I was still, it was not, like it still didn't me that just happened, and I decided right there and then that day, I decided this is my spiritual master. I want to go wherever he goes. I want to do whatever he wants me to do. I want to follow this path. I don't care, what it takes.
So Mayapur, that's your South African experience. And then you came to Gitanagari. So
Yeah.
do you have any how did that happen? I'm just a little curious.
So that was also kind of really a weird way experience, because I didn't know about Gitanagari the whole time I was in South Africa. I don't remember Gurudev talking about Gitanagari, but out of the blue, I must have given him my email address. That must have been but I don't remember that I did that. But out of the blue, one day I got an email with an invitation to come to Gitanagari, and I wasn't sure how I was gonna do that. I wasn't sure, like how I was gonna buy my ticket to come, and it was like, but I knew I was gonna come. I was convinced that I wanted to come, and somehow Krishna's mercy, it happened. I was able to get a ticket, and come to Gitanagari, and I flew myself. It was the very first time out of the country. I came here myself. I was alone, and you guys picked me up. Lila and I believe it was Lila picked me up from the airport, and that was another mystical experience, just coming to the Dham and just being there. And I felt the same way as Nrsingha did. I was feeling in my heart that I don't ever want to leave Gitanagari. And one thing he did, whenever devotees would come to the farm, he would call devotees up to the institute house to, for us to take darshan. And, and we came into his room, and he talked a little bit, and I said to him, Guru Maharaj, I don't want to leave. I want to live here. And he said, turn to his deities, Radha Shama Sundar, and he said, did you guys hear that? and he's like, okay. And this has been what, 22, since 2003.
Well, you did leave because you had to go home, and
Yeah,
then
but I always
actually
come-
Gurudev sent me to get her.
Oh, okay. No, I mean,
That's a
oh,
whole
okay,
different story, though.
that's separate. But when I eventually came, yeah. So I did, I came back in 2003, and I've been here ever since. We tried to move away a couple of times, but we always have to come back. Always coming back to get it out, right? So.
I'm going to ask you, Sheriff, she won't ask you any question, but you know what? The thing is, when Mayapur Lila landed in Gitanagari, Nrsingha Tirtha saw her, and he came to us and he said, "That's my wife." I'm like, "She just got here. What are you talking about?" And so that's what happened. That's why you had to go back and get her.
I don't think that's the way it went. When I first saw her, I was like, I don't like her. Her hair was all pushed back like a real conservative, because I was into, like, you know, artsy type people. She looked like a banker. That's what she was. She was a banker. I was like, nah. But then, yeah, after I talked to her, I think a day or two afterwards, 3 days have gone by that I met her. I was like, yeah, I know that's the woman I'm going to marry. So
That's
yeah,
my
it was
memory.
very short.
That's my So, Kishorani, do you have any question for Mayapur Lila?
Thank you so much for sharing all those stories. It's so touching. I do have a question. Lila asked about chastisement. I would like to ask about appreciation. Did you get any verbal appreciation from your guru, or it was not a part of his mercy?
See, that's the thing about Bhakti Tirtha Swami, about Guru Maharaj. And this is why I appreciate him and love him so much, is that he would chastise me, and it, you know, other times also that I didn't account for, but less than a minute afterwards, it would be like very sweet. Like he would, you know, it would be like a mother with a loving child who, you know, would like slap the hand of the child, but then hug the child afterwards. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the thing. He would always chastise me, but then he would be like if he never did anything, like if it never happened, you know, and like it was the sweetest exchange. So yeah, I never said those things, but that's what actually happened. It was in the instant that he said that he chastised me, that there would be this exchange of love, you know. It was great.
And so Mayapur, because she was always appreciated, I'm wondering, Mayapur, did you ever get chastisement? Because I don't remember I don't remember seeing you getting chastised.
Not one.
I don't know. I don't remember any harsh words from Gurudev. No. Nope. I don't think so.
They say the husband gets the karma of the wife. I think he was chastising me because he couldn't chastise her, because he knew I could take it. She wouldn't be able to take it.
So you guys can figure out by now that Nrsingha, he's an artist and he's also a comedian. with that very how do you say, serious mood that he has, the other side of him is that he's a comedian, so he can make people laugh. So Mayapur, is there any other pastime that you remember that you would like to share with us? And then
one short pastime is when Adwaita was talking about rides the other day, and I think it was that same day that he was talking about Gurudev. I don't know, somehow we took him to the thrift store here to go and overalls for, you know, just for the farm. And then I was sitting out in the van, somebody's van, and Nrsingha and Gurudev went in to the thrift store, and about, must have been, I don't know, some time later, they came out, and Gurudev told Nrsingha to buy me a bike, a pink bike. Pink bike he told to buy me, and he, you know, brought it, and he's like, he came back and he's like, you like your bike? And I said, yes, nice. That was kind of like, you know, his mood was always, you know, as much as he was very heavy at times, he had that really light mood to him, you know, and almost like you could connect to him on immediately on that level. You know, he was so approachable like that.
Yeah. So before we close out with Lila, Ikavira, do you have some question or something you'd like to share?
I appreciate both of you coming together and sharing today. It's really, really special. And I know Nrsingha Tirtha has so many more pastimes of chastisement I'd like to hear in the future. And I'm sure others would like to hear that too. So we want you to come back and yes.
Well, thanks for this opportunity, and all glories to the service of remembering our most beloved Guru Maharaj.
And helping us to remember him.
This is the mercy of our team. You know, our team is so dedicated to wanting everyone as much as possible to learn about Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. So our gratitude really goes to them because they're so dedicated to helping us to share about Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. And actually on tomorrow, Kishore Rani is starting a course in Russia on Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj's Spiritual Warrior 4. And how many people do you have registered, Kishore, for that?
200 so far, but registration are still coming.
200, right? Are registered for that course. So this is, you know, we're so grateful to devotees that have appreciated and are appreciating Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj and continuing his legacy. And like this course is pretty amazing that, you know, she's doing this with one other person, I believe. And so, yeah, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj.
Will that be in English? Sorry.
No, it's in Russian.
Okay.
It's in Russian. Yeah. And so, Lila, can you please close us out? This is our Lila that has this amazing part of our service that brings everything together at the end.
Thank you so much to all of you. Speaking of this chastisement and the appreciation, the unconditional love of Bhakti Tirtha Swami, today Rajalila was talking about Nrsingha Dev, right? In this mood of anger and also love. And so it's, you know, I was just thinking of like how he was so efficient at showing that it's all the same coin, right? Because the times where you hear he's chastising someone, it just came from the deepest love. And I have heard from other of his devotees that immediately after being chastised, they just would feel even more love. And so that's why in the beginning I referred to it as this mercy. So I think that it fit today perfectly with the mood of Nrsingha Dev, right? Anger and unconditional love. So I just thank you so much for speaking about those things. It's just the more and more we know about him, the more and more we're just, well, realizing what an incredible person he was for those of us who weren't able to spend time with him personally. And so now we have all of you who are sharing these incredible memories and giving life to this person. And when we read the books, we know more of who this person is. So I thank you so, so much. And yes, I also, like Ekavir, I want to hear more about the chastising. So please come back and join us again.
Thank you guys so very much. You know, Lila is a disciple of His Holiness Dayananda Maharaj, and Kishore is a disciple of His Holiness Srila Radhanath Maharaj. And so we are just such a beautiful, wonderful family. So we thank you, and I know Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj is really happy for us to be coming together and just being together. It's just so beautiful and wonderful. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
devotees. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Hare